Okay, you guys, today I am chatting with Alicia Lozano, founder of The Motivated Co., where she is a business designer and systems strategist. She has over 7 years in corporate coaching, consulting, and training, plus a master's in organizational development and leadership. How freaking cool is that, you guys? So, Alicia is an advocate for the underdog and loves inspiring her community to believe in themselves so that they design their ideal life from any situation and any past that they may have come from. So, welcome to the show, Alicia.
Thank you. Thank you. I need you in my pocket so I can carry you around whenever I need an intro.
Right? You need a little microphone to put on blast
Yeah.
every time. Oh my
I'm
God.
going to need you to record that for me.
I will. It can be like
Wow.
someday you'll have a podcast. I know you will. So we can I can do your voiceover for your podcast. How about
Ooh,
that?
love it. Love it. I'll take you up on it.
So Alicia and I actually met back in 2018. She was getting into side hustling and getting into starting her own professional organizing business. She's based in San Antonio, Texas. And so this was my first client that I had in the giant state of Texas here in the United States. And I don't even know how you found me, probably like Instagram or something. But yeah, that was way back in 2018. And now here we are in 2021. So it's great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think it was Instagram because I was probably searching like organizers. I was looking for a business coach at the time, but I mean, I can't believe we stayed in touch. I mean, I can believe now, but it's so amazing that we've stayed in touch and it's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. And I love, I get that all the time from past students, past clients, past even like home organization customers that I'm still friends with, that they still have, text threads with me and things like that. I'm one of those people that like never goes away. I had a girl on my Instagram the other day and she like hadn't followed me for a while and then she refollowed me and I was like, oh my gosh, how are you? We had like one consultation call. She wasn't even a client like 3 years ago. And she was like, how the hell do you remember me? And I'm like, I have the memory of an elephant. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know you've always been super supportive. And I mean, how can I forget, first of all, my first business coach, and second of all, the person that helped me make my first dollar.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I love
I
that.
wish I had the dollar around me to show you like that my very first dollar was from doing some organizing.
I love that so much. Oh my God. Okay. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, you know how we're in trade. This is like completely off topic, but I love you and I know you can talk about this. Like Bitcoin and all of this, like
Yeah.
XRP and like moving to cryptocurrency. Like, I know nothing about any of it, but like, imagine like paper dollars. Like, when do you actually see like cash anymore? Like, everything is
Yeah, you
so
don't.
like Apple Pay and this and that. Yeah. And I was thinking about it too. I was like, I should frame my first buck, even if it's not like the actual dollar. It's just cool to like see the money on the wall. Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I still haven't framed it, but I have like I have my dollar and then I have my grandpa's dollar. I didn't know until he passed. Like I guess I just didn't put two and two together, but that he was also an entrepreneur. His trade was in painting. And so I was like, man, like I wish I would have connected the dots sooner, than when he passed, because it would have been so interesting to talk to him about his experience as an entrepreneur back then.
That is
But
so
no,
cool.
that's
I just got chills. Oh, that means like spirits with us.
yeah.
Like, oh, that's so cool. I love
But
that.
start taking client payments in a cryptocurrency. There was a story about that where this girl said that one of her clients asked if she could pay in Bitcoin, I think it was, and she was like, okay, and he gave her like, I don't know, it was maybe like $50 in Bitcoin. Long story short, she videoed herself, and she was like, I just want to check my Bitcoin account and see like what it is. Like, who knows? Anyway, it was like thousands of dollars.
Gosh, that is so cool. I
And she's like,
know.
oh my God, like, he ended up paying me. It was like $50,000, like something crazy. And she's like, oh my God, what was the payment? Or I think it wasn't a payment, it was a tip. It was like a tip of like $50 or something like that for a painting that she did.
How
And
crazy.
anyway, long story short, she was paid like 50
Oh my
grand.
God. Okay. I'm going to start accepting cryptocurrency for all of you out there that are listening to this for future coaching programs. We're working off of Bitcoin.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
So cool. Okay. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself. What called you to, first of all, what called you to get into organizing? And then I'm sure we'll get into all the pivots and all the things after that.
Yeah. So okay, so when I feel like the story goes back even to just having a conversation about wanting to be an entrepreneur and how long it took to just sit in that space of like, I know I want to work for myself one day, but I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I landed on a podcast that was run by Pat Flynn. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Okay, so he talks about he talks about a lot of things like podcasting, email marketing, and that kind of stuff. But he had another guy called Noah Keegan on the call or on his podcast. And in that conversation, I don't even remember what the topic was about, but he gave out 5 questions to ask your audience when you're looking to generate a business idea. And so he's like, whoever your audience is, whether that's your mom, dad, sister, brother on Facebook, like whoever, just ask these 5 questions. Well, one of the 5 questions was, what has been on your to-do list for over 2 weeks? And so I asked that question to my Facebook group, and friends answered or whatever, and everybody was saying something along the lines of like organizing my garage, cleaning up my kid's bedroom, taking out, going through my closet, like something like that, right? And so it obviously wasn't like organizing my home. It wasn't like blatant in your face, but everything tied back to organizing something. And I was like, interesting. So I just started to Google like organizing homes, because at the time I had no idea that professional organizing was even a thing. This is way before, or not way before, but it was before Marie Kondo had blew up and was like in our face. So I did, like, again, Googled, found out that there was professional organizers. And then I was like, like, do I want to be a professional organizer? Do I want to do something digital, like digital files and that kind of stuff? So yeah, that was my first introduction. Shortly after that, I ended up having, I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. And I was having a conversation, and it's so crazy how this turns out, but I was having a conversation with 2 women in I was partnered with them in an entrepreneur group. And I was talking with them about this, and they were entrepreneurs at the time. And of course I wasn't at the time. And I was like, I have these ideas, I don't know what to do. And one of the girls, who was one of the first clients, and still is right now, of my new venture, she basically was like, you just need to pick something and do it. So when somebody talks to me like that in a very direct way, I'm like, okay, I get it. That's like my little like check mark. Like, I need some tough love sometimes. So,
For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
so then, I knew that I wanted to be guided. And shortly after, I landed on finding you, and then hired you as a business coach. We went through your first consulting call, and then you gave me like action items. And I want to say it was action items over like maybe 7 to 10 days. And in less than 10 days, or right at the 10-day mark, I had launched an organizing business called Motivated Organizing, and had my first paying client.
Yeah.
I just had to say that. Like, that's a big freaking deal. Okay. Like, following your plan, like everything from like getting on, the Google, there was like some organizing site that you had me get on, just doing all of the things that, not the unnecessary things, not like market yourself and build a brand and all of these things that people tell you and these gurus to do. Like, it was very like, these are the steps that you need to take to get started and to make money, period. Take these steps and you're golden. I took the steps and I made my first dollar. Boom.
Yay. Oh my God. I love that. I'm going to freaking clip that and put that as a testimonial video, if you don't mind.
Do it. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
I love it so much, because this is what I love about you, Alicia. Like, you get shit done. Like, you truly embody the make shit happen mindset. Like, you are the type of person where you don't sit on the fence, you don't dilly dally, even when you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And we all don't most of the time. We're all just kind of like running around, like, what do we do next? What's next? What's my thing? What's my shtick? How can I make the next dollar? Things like that. I think you're never stop though. Like, you never stop moving. Like, you're always doing something. You're always moving something forward. You're always progressing in some way. You're on fire. And I just see that. And I've seen that over the past 3 years. And it's so cool to see kind of like where you've landed now at this stage in the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been painful, like, but like you said, I am, if there was one thing that I never was unsure about, like in terms of just myself, it's achieving a goal. Like, I left my corporate job first. I used to work for a bank, left my corporate job because I wanted to dance and act, and I went to California, and it took me 8 months, but I'm in a music video that you can see on YouTube, So just with that experience alone, like I've always been able to prove to myself that, I can achieve when I say something, and when I buckle down, like it's going to happen. And, in it's been a long and painful journey, and I'm sure that's a lot of experience for people who like put themselves through the ringer, or like don't understand, maybe they don't have clarity in the beginning, and you just have to keep going, and like you said, keep taking action. It is messy action. It's not going to make sense. It might feel like you're taking 20 steps back to one step forward, and maybe you are, but it's also necessary in building you up to the person that you need to be in the position that you're meant to be in, and this is not it, right? It's not like this is the end all be all, right? I'm in this position and that's it. Like, no way, like this is just my next step. I have no idea what's in front of me. No
Yeah.
idea, but
Yeah. It's so true. It's so crazy how, before we jumped on today, we were talking about this idea of the messy middle, and
yeah,
how no one really talks about this. Like the podcasts that I listen to and like the books I read, like it all just seems like, oh, okay, so they woke up one day and said, I want to be a professional keynote speaker. And then they did it and it happened and it was done, or, oh, I woke up one day and decided I wanted to be the next home edit company for pro organizing, and I did it and it was done. And it's like, no, I want to see all the nitty gritty, the crying on the floor moments, the this is too hard throwing stuff at the wall moments. Like that is the
yeah,
real entrepreneurial journey. And I just love that you are able to bring that vulnerability to the table. Like, hey, I know this is hard. I'm going to level set with you. I'm going to be your partner through this, and not be like, higher than thou, right? Like you're up here and they're down there. Like, and so tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, as a business designer and system strategist.
yeah. So I, again, it came through messy action. So literally maybe like 2 months ago, I had, actually, no, maybe it was 2 months ago, 2 or 2.5 months ago, I was going through a period again in my life, like where I felt, I had actually lost motivation, which had never happened to me, like motivation and purpose. And it was so weird to me because I do try to push through, or I feel like I try to push myself through, and I like do affirmations, and I do all the personal development things that the personal development people tell you to do. Plus, shortly after I was a professional organizer, I became a life coach. So I dove headfirst into all of the sparkly things that you're supposed to do to keep your emotions right high, and that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I fell into this like really like I don't know, it was dark. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't pull myself out of it. And I read a book by Rebecca Campbell called The Light is the New Black. And it was my very first entrance into spirituality. And you have it. Yes.
Of course I have it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay. And that came as a recommendation. And again, just something other to say is that sometimes you got to let people into your heart when you're going through some tough times. And I have trouble with that because I have trust issues. But I had a friend that just wanted to pour into me, and she had a conversation with me. And, I felt very bad because I always feel like I can't give back to people because I don't know what I'm giving. I don't know what value do I have, right? Was a question that's always going through my head. So when people pour into me, it feels very weird, right? Because I'm like, no, I don't know if I can give you anything back. But anyway, so she ended up having a conversation with me, and through that conversation, she recommended a book, The Light is the New Black. And so kudos to her. But so I read the book, and it helped a little bit. Like I felt myself kind of coming out of that rut. And through that, then I had another entrepreneur friend who's now my very first client. Basically, I was talking to her about this stuff, and she says, hey, like just what I'm hearing, like I haven't asked you to do this for me because I don't want to throw you off, but of like your own journey. but would you build systems for me? Like, I need help in my business. I'm at a place, I've already hit my first revenue goal. I'm at a place where I have 2 hires. I want to bring you on to just build my systems out so I can scale my business. And of course, like, naturally, I'm a problem solver, and that's a strength that I love. If you look at my strength finder, like, it's all over all of the personality things, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And I was a little reluctant, honestly, but I was like, fuck it, like, right, what else am I doing? And so I did it, and it just tapped something in me that made it all kind of come together. And I was like, oh my gosh. And to back up just a little bit, I went from professional organizing to wanting to be a motivational speaker, which is still on the docket, I would say, but wanting to be a motivational speaker, to life coaching, then to hiring another business coach that I, felt like, okay, I was going to build this coaching agency with, and I'm going to really learn the ins and outs of this, business 101, which I did. I just didn't, it wasn't true to me. And so that was a big barrier that I had with that. And then to getting into that rut, and then like having a friend just say, will you do this for me? And I was like, okay. So then I landed on business designer, system strategist. And so, yeah, so what I do now is I will go into, I'll work with the CEO, specifically like a visionary person, someone who has all of these ideas, someone who is, really wanting to grow their company and really wanting to scale their company, but they're in the weeds. They're in the weeds of doing the work. They're in the weeds of doing all the operations, all the admin work. They're wearing a lot of hats, and they may have a small team, they may not. But I will come in as their integrator. So they will brain dump, right? And say, this is where I want my company to go. This is, what I'm doing currently. Here's some of the projects. Here's some of my ideas. And I will come in and systemize and automate where we can, and then also help them plan strategically, like what KPIs are important, and how they are going to actually achieve their KPI day in and day out. And so,
That's
yeah,
so
that's what I do
awesome.
now.
That's so awesome.
I'm
Yeah. And I
organizing
think
businesses.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I kind of did the same thing where, like, my background, we have similar backgrounds where, like, I came from human capital management, staffing, recruiting,
Yep.
HR, payroll, benefits for like 10 years. Same, kind of sort of thing as you. I did a lot of OD in those roles. OD, for those that are listening, is organizational development. So it's not like organizing pantries and garages, but it's organizing actual businesses and trying to figure out who should go where, who should be in what role. It's almost like project management on steroids. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I think it just makes so much sense because, when I met you, I was pivoting out of the full time organizing. I had hired a team, I had grown and scaled my company. Let's get you organized. And I was like, okay, I want to teach others how to do this too. And I think it makes so much sense because we just have that brain. And I want to ask you, so in my course, in Pro Organizer Bootcamp, we talk a lot about knowing your strengths and knowing, know thyself, right? The classic quote, I think it's like an Aristotle quote, but what's your personality profile? So, like, I'm a high D, high I on DISC, and I'm an Enneagram 1, so I'm an improver. And then my Clifton strengths are discipline, focus, activator, competition, and significance.
Yeah. So I am also a D and I, very close. My Clifton strengths are achiever, focus, shit, what else are they?
It's okay. It's okay if you don't remember
Achiever,
the first two.
focus, competition. So competitive, that's also one. I
We'll
can't
go with
remember the
top
other
three. We'll
two.
go with top three. But see, we have the same three. We have focus, we
Yeah.
have achiever, and we have competition. That's awesome. And then what about Enneagram? Have you done your
And
Enneagram
I'm an
before?
Enneagram 7. So Enneagram, I don't know, is a little tricky because when I first took it, which was probably about 2 years ago, I was an Enneagram 4. And I don't even remember what they are, but so I was an Enneagram 4, and then I retook it like maybe a year after that, and I was an Enneagram 7. So I'm like, I don't know, do you change?
I No, I'm getting more into Enneagram, but I mean, coming from like the background, like the corporate background, like you and I both have had, I feel
Yeah.
like Clifton Strengths and DISC is definitely more of like the go-to when you're trying to hire people or train people into their new roles and things like that.
Yeah.
But that is so funny. We're so similar on that same page.
I
And
know.
when you, Mhm.
Hold on. You have to answer this because I heard you talk about it because I listened to your podcast. Human design. What are your numbers?
So I'm a manifester. I'm not a manifesting generator. I'm not a generator. I'm a manifester. I'm the person that kicks the soccer ball, and that's all I want to do is kick the soccer ball. I don't want to worry about where the soccer ball goes.
Okay. I'm a manifesting generator. So close. I think it's 5-1 is what my human design is.
I don't know my numbers. I'm going to have to look back. That's another one that's also growing. Yeah, I talk about that in the course too. I just think you guys, for those of you that are listening, I think it's so important to know what the heck you're good at because like Alicia said, you know, she started this, she started with, okay, by the way, I know Pat Flynn. He lives down the street from me and
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, you'll have to come visit.
Hold on. I think I kind of knew, I didn't know that you knew him like that, but now that you said that, it triggered a picture that you had. He used to host something, right? And you went, okay. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we used to do so at WeWork, which by the way, everyone needs to watch the new WeWork documentary on Hulu. It's absolutely fascinating. It's about, you know, how this guy got like a $40 billion investment opportunity. Anyway, it's a crazy whole thing. But I used to have a space at WeWork, and that's how I met many of the, you know, business buddies that I know still to this day, and Pat Flynn being one of them. And so he used to hold monthly like lunch and learn kind of things, like where we would all just like sit and chat in a circle. It'd be like 20 to 30 solopreneurs and like smaller, you know, service-based businesses. And I had never even like listened to his podcast or anything. And then it turns out he literally lives like down the street from me, and I like see him and his kids all the time. It's so funny. Also, you mentioned Noah Keegan, who my partner is like obsessed with. He like every day he'll send me some sort of quote or podcast or YouTube clip from Noah Keegan. So for those of you listening, check out Pat Flynn and Noah Keegan. And thank you, Alicia, for, you know, mentioning them. Yay.
No, I mean, both of them, I think, well, Pat Flynn, I feel like has been in the game long, but I feel like he's been in public longer. And Noah Keegan just maybe a year ago, maybe even less than that, started to have a public presence on social media and stuff. But he's fantastic too. I think he's working on a book as well, if it hasn't already come out. But yeah, just in practical knowledge and being like the real deal type of like, let me not give you the fluff. Let me not tell you like the pretty and stuff. Like he even says, like, I remember him saying, like, if you're looking for a business idea, like literally pick the most boring thing in the world, like, and you'll make money. Like, and he's just like, pick the most boring thing. Like, he's all about like, okay, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what do you want? You know, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, but to talk about your strengths, like knowing yourself, I think I'm so key to continue to develop yourself. And, you know, another good book recommendation would be Discovering Your Dharma by Sahara Rose. And that really actually helped me understand my mediums. So we have so many people telling us like, follow this TikTok trend or jump on video or do a podcast or do this or do that or do that. Right. And be, you know, everywhere. And it's so important to understand your perfect medium for you. So for me, that's what pulled me out of life coaching, because conversations like one-on-one with people, like in that setting, it wasn't my medium. And that's why Clubhouse, like I loved Clubhouse at first, but for some reason, having a conversation like that, it drains me, right? It doesn't like energize me. And so, and that was hard to say because it, you know, it makes you feel like, oh, well, you don't like this. And like, no, this is about myself, right? It has nothing to do with other people. It's about what drains me, what's bringing me energy. And I think it's so important to stay true to yourself and understand the type of ways that you love to show up. Because when you love to do something, like if you love video, if you love podcasting, I was just telling a friend the other day, I was like, I really like podcasting. I think because I just talk about myself. I'm like, I think I like podcasting. So, you know, if you know, showing up in that way, you're going to naturally lead like lean in harder and work harder at that one thing, you know?
For sure, for sure. Like I love that. First of all, I love Sahara Rose, guys. Another good one to follow. I'm gonna put all of these people in the show notes here for today's episode. But she's great. I met her at Pays to Be Brave. It was an event that Angie Lee held here in San Diego. And so I have chills again. We have another little photo of us too. But yes,
You have all
knowing
the
your
good
medium.
people. So all the good people are in San Diego. We need to move over there.
I know. Well, and Angie Lee just moved. She used to also live kind of in my neighborhood. She just moved to Texas. So now you can switch places with her. You can come from Texas to California. But
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, Sahara is great. And then as far as finding your medium, I think that is so key because like I know about myself that I hate Twitter. I know that I hate Clubhouse. Like I thought I was going to love Clubhouse. I absolutely think it's the most boring, obnoxious, time sucking thing in the entire universe. And so I'm not going to be on either of those platforms. What I love is Instagram. And then now I'm building a Facebook community and stuff too, which has been really fun. I had kind of written off Facebook before, just saying, oh, it's just for baby boomers or my ideal client isn't there or this or that. But like starting a Facebook group for me has been a game changer. So I think you'll go through seasons too, like maybe at some point I'll be more on LinkedIn or more on YouTube or, I think just knowing, like you said, what energizes you versus what drains you.
100%. Yeah. And it's hard because I know that, very smart people are saying to follow, let's just say Clubhouse, right? Because yeah, is there money to be made? Is there business deals to be made? Absolutely. So I don't come at this from a, business strategist, right? Like, oh, but I also see people winning, staying in their lane, right? And so when you stay in your lane, like I think that's how I want to win. I don't want to win, like with doing the things that I hate and like waking up like, oh, I have to do this or that.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, and that's the beauty. That's what I wanted to ask you about too, just before we close here, is your side hustle journey, like trying to figure out, okay, I'm in this corporate job. You and I, we've both been corporate for quite a while. We have our corporate jobs. We wake up at 5 a.m. We walk the dog. We do our exercise, we whatever, and we're at our computers at 7:30 or 8 a.m. every day. And it can start to feel really draining and soul sucking. And I side hustled for about 7 years in my business in Let's Get You Organized, my former business, before I made the leap in 2017 after miscarrying and being under so much stress and having that kind of life altering change that really gave me that push to leave my job. And I think you might have some exciting news after side hustling for like 3 years. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. I don't even know where to start, but in summary, like I was side hustling for 3 years. We talked about kind of the different types of businesses that I went to and just tried to get off the ground. Invested in a business coach, and I don't want to always say like it didn't work, but like I hit the barrier of like trying to build a business that wasn't true to myself. So I was still going through like a lot of that self-discovery. And then I landed about like 60 days ago. Like I said, a friend was like, do you want to do this for me? And I was like, sure. I don't know if I'm good at it or not. I mean, I feel excited about what you're asking me to do kind of thing, and then landed on doing this, and it just was this energetic shift. And I feel like everything I've been through, through this journey, and straight up not making profit, right? Like through this journey, it just felt like the right time. And in less than 3 weeks, like actually this is the first time that this would be public, like public, like I will be out of my corporate job and doing this full time. And like I was telling you a little bit earlier before we jumped on, is that I wanted this journey to look different. I wanted to say like, oh, I'm making all this money and supplementing my income. But the reality is that I'm just taking a leap of faith into myself. And one of the things that I think Light is a New Black talks about, Sahara Rose talks a little bit about this as well, in the different ways you can follow your dharma, which is your purpose. But is, for me, I thought it was going to be the most safest route, which was supplementing your income and then leaving, at that point. But there just comes a point where you just know it's right for you. And, so many signs out there, and I'm getting more spiritual and just myself. And if all I'm clear about is that I know that my job is a barrier to what I'm supposed to do. So if I just trust that I remove this barrier, like other things are going to be revealed to me. And, it's not like I'm just leaving and I don't have any business or don't have a plan, but do I know that this plan is going to pan out? I have no idea. but I'm doing it, and it is what it is. And I am excited and also terrified. It feels like I am about to jump out of a plane, but I have no idea whether or not I have the parachute on my back or I forgot to put it. But it feels like I have to just jump and that's it. And it's not the right path for everyone at all. With this, let me just say, because I think this is very important, because when I can hear myself, and I'm a little bit angry that I missed this part, but I saved money. Okay. So I saved money. I also manifested a lump sum of money into my life. And I say manifested because I swear on January 1, when I made my vision board, I put an exact dollar amount, and I made over that exact dollar amount into my life. And I had a plan for that dollar. That plan for that dollar was to give me 6 months of my corporate income as a safety net. And it dropped out of the sky. Like literally had no idea this was coming at all. And so I think that's important, because people miss that. They won't want to expose that there's some type of backup plan, right? It's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so crazy, but I'm going to be homeless if, tomorrow if this doesn't happen. Like, no, like I'm okay for a little bit. I will be homeless after this period. Okay. But I think it's important to talk about the real, like this is what I did. I saved this money. I manifested another lump sum of money. And I'm sure that is contributing, on top of having some clarity, to me getting to this point.
Yeah, it's so crucial. It's so crucial to have a nest egg, to have, cash that's stacked. And we talk a little bit about that in the course of like, what's your budget? Do you have a fancy gym membership that you're not using? Can you cut that? Do you have 55 TV streaming services that you're not even going to have time for because you're going full time in your business? So why don't you cancel those? What can you cut out? What can you start budgeting? What can you look at cutting debt down, getting out of credit card debt before you start a business, or getting out of student loan debt, or getting out of car payments, or whatever it can be for you, whatever those little incremental budgeting, measurements can help you with, I think is so crucial. And I'm the first one to say, like, start the side hustle before you just take the leap. And look at you, you've done this for 3 years and now it finally feels right. For me, it was like 7 years of home organizing on weekends and at night for clients before I took the leap. And so it's going to take time, but the key is just to get started, start taking that messy action so that you can get on the journey and figure out what the heck you're meant to do in this lifetime.
Absolutely. Action breeds clarity for sure. Even though I don't like that, I like to plan. We all, probably everybody in your audience listening to this, you're planners, right? You're like, no, I don't have the website, or I don't have my social media perfect, or I don't have like X, Y, and Z. And planning is okay. But when you want to really get some momentum going and you're trying to find clarity, you just have to do. Yeah. That's it. Make shit happen, right?
Yes, girl, making shit happen with Melisa Meral. Okay, so where the heck can everyone find you? Because I'm sure you're gonna see an influx in follows and people wanting to speak with you, and you definitely need to start your own podcast. So I'll be waiting for that to come out.
Oh my goodness. So the podcasting, so when I said that, not starting my own podcast, being a guest on podcast. So yes, it is actually part of my income producing activities, which are activities that everyone should be doing on at least a weekly basis. to reach out to at least 5 podcasters, because again, that's my medium, right? I like to do this kind of stuff. Ask me why it's different than having a conversation or coaching. I don't know. Like, I can just tell you what feels good, what isn't. But anyway, so they can find me. I'm most active on Instagram, but I'm across all platforms. So my tag or my ID handle is I am Alicia Lozano. That's ALICIA LOZANO. So I am Alicia Lozano, and you can find me either with my name or that tag across any platform, including Clubhouse, which I think might be a little bit different. Actually, it's Miss Alicia Lozano, MS Alicia Lozano. Thank you. And thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for being a part of my life and this journey and my story and everything. And I just am so grateful.
Yay. Oh my gosh. And your dog is feeling it too. I just love it so much. And I'm so glad again that we've stayed connected and I've been able to watch you just blossom over these past 3 years. And it's so cool. I can't wait to see what you do next. Let's definitely do a recap in a year, because I'm sure I'll be different. You'll be different. We are on the path. We are taking messy action. And thank you so, so much for being here today.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yay! Okay, stay tuned, guys, for the next episode. Episodes come out every Wednesday. Make sure you're subscribed.